Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Afshari Unbound podcast. And I am here, Sean Afshari, another day. Beautiful Tuesday here in the state of Idaho. And I believe today's date is September 30th, 2025. I am so lost for words right now because the month of September has just flew by so fast that I really am losing track of time a lot. But let's get back into our show. And boy, do we have a show for you today, because there are a bunch of things that has happened in the last several days or so that is worth covering. And some of the topics we're going to be covering today, I mean, it's going to be pretty juicy, guys, because, the main topics we're covering is attacks on Christians in America and worldwide. And as well as there's a lot of unanswered questions regarding the Kirk shooting. And another thing we should probably highlight is Trump's crazy UN speech and the different effects and repercussions that it's had so far. And the demographics that have changed America. And we're going to go through it. This will include things like religious demographics completely changing in the United States, and also how illegal immigration is completely changing the entire landscape of what the American identity and the nation of the United States actually is. Okay, so a quick overview of the topics we're going to cover. The specific topics is going to be the Mormon Church shooting out in Michigan. Okay, and then the Charlie Kirk case, as we mentioned before, and anti-Christian violence, the UN walking out on Netanyahu's little speech, the global Christian persecutions that is currently unfolding and has been unfolding for a long time now, but nobody seems to be recognizing it completely at all. And also the great replacement debate, because right now we have proof that the great replacement, if you guys don't know what it is, we'll get into it later on in the show. But the great replacement is no longer a myth, guys. Like, this is real. So here, these are going to be some things that you're obviously not going to hear on mainstream media. So that's why we're going to be digging in. So let's go. All right. So the first topic that we're going to cover, and it is probably the most important breaking story. Now, I'm the type of person, when I run my shows, I understand there's a lot of podcasters out there that they like to break out news right away, breaking as soon as it happened. Now, for me, I'm more of a very analytical person, so I don't like to do breaking news stories that much, really, because I like to be able to uncover information in a fuller scope of the story, rather than just breaking news out to all of you guys and not being able to provide you with the necessary information to provide the context to the story. So that's why I didn't cover the Mormon church shooting out in Grand Blancs, Michigan, just because there was a lot of mystery surrounding the whole shooting, the scenario, and how everything happened. And now that it's been several days, we kind of understand who the suspect was and maybe try to understand a little bit his motives. So that's why I didn't cover it. And I'm choosing to cover it now, because we definitely have a lot more information than when it first broke out, because there was just a lot of confusion on Sunday. But now, come Tuesday, I think we have enough to actually have a good story to cover the Mormon Church. So let's get into it. All right, what have we got here? So the first article that we're going to go ahead and cover is going to be from the New York Times. And I know what you guys are going to say. The New York Times is highly biased and left-leaning. But as far as the series of stories and how in-depth they were, based on my analysis, they've got the most pertinent facts about the shooting. So that's why I'm going to cover it. So let's get right into this article here. Okay, let's go ahead and switch it over. Right. Transition. Okay. So, all right. So what do we know so far? So we know that the shooting occurred on Sunday morning at a LDS church in Grand Blancs, Michigan. Now, I really don't know how it's pronounced based on the way it's spelled, because I think it's pronounced Grand Blancs, but whenever I say that, everybody thinks I'm weird, and I want to be French, so they told me, you should probably just call it Grand Blancs. So I'm going to call it Grand Blancs Townships from now on. Okay. Now, we know the location happening in LDS church, and it happened in early morning during one of their Sunday services. And as far as we understand, okay, as far as we understand, we know that the man identified as Thomas Jacob Sanford intentionally set fire to the Church of Latter-day Saints in the meeting house at Grand Blancs Township, the authorities said. And congregants were inside attending services, they said, when the building was engulfed in flames. I'm going to keep my opinion. I'm going to go through the story because my emotions are starting to get fired up. So I'm going to just try to keep going before I give you guys my take. 4 people inside the church died, 2 of gunshot wounds, the police said. 2 more bodies were later found in the church. At least 8 others were wounded. And the shooter also died in an exchange of gunfire with responding officers and police. No more victims are expected to be found in the charred remains, and everyone who was in the church at the time of the attack has been accounted for, authorities said. Okay, so we know that happened, and there's a lot of stories that's been going on about this. But the problem is you have to really look at the bigger picture of this, because this theme is starting to be common. The theme of violence against Christians in America. And it's been happening more and more and more and more. And now here's the thing. I don't want to jump to conclusions to say that this is a targeted attack against Christians, but the facts state for itself. Because based on the statistics that we've seen, and I will cover those statistics later to give you guys a little bit more context and more facts, so you guys don't think I'm spewing BS. But apparently, the motives of the Sanford guy, Thomas J. Sanford, the article here as clearly says, as you can see here, it says the suspect is said to have harbored hatred for Mormons. So let's go into what it says here before I give you any more of my take. While officials have not determined an official motive for the attack, Reuben Coleman, the acting special agent in charge of FBI's Detroit field office, said it was being classified as an act of targeted violence. Friends and acquaintances of Mr. Sanford gave more clues to what may have driven him to carry out the attack. They said Mr. Sanford had developed a hatred for Mormons after a romantic relationship with a religious woman who belonged to the Church of Latter-day Saints ended painfully several years ago, when he lived in Utah. Mr. Sanford considered Mormons the Antichrist and seemed to express his gripes about the faith to anyone who would listen. Several people who knew him had told the New York Times. As recently as last week, Mr. Sanford unleashed a rant about the Church of Chris Johns, a candidate for the Burton County City Council who had knocked on Mr. Sanford's door while canvassing. Caroline Leavitt, the White House press secretary, also said on Fox News Monday that based on her conversations with the FBI director, this was an individual who hated people of the Mormon faith. The suspect's family was cooperating with investigators, Ms. Leavitt said. Okay, so in 2016, Mr. Sanford married a woman who had gone to his high school, according to court records. They have a 10-year-old son. Okay. Okay, so suspect. So that's really the core of it. So, according to this, he harbored hatred towards Mormons. Now, we don't really know what the true, well, we do know, but I can tell you right now that based on this, what this article says right here, he has a hate towards Mormons. It doesn't list his political leanings of any kind, which for the New York Times, I have to give them that they didn't jump to the political theme right away. They didn't jump on the political bandwagon trying to label him as either a right or a left. So I give him props for that. But I can tell right now, based on this article, there is going to be a lot of bad conclusions that come out from this that labels him as either most likely an alt-right person rather than a leftist. So there are a series of articles and stories out there that are covering this, but let's go ahead and see other evidence that we might have here to either see if he's either MAGA or he's not. Okay, so let's see that. So let's go ahead and just, before I get any deeper into that, let's go ahead and dive in to the actual police press conference regarding the church shooting.
Good afternoon. I am Specialist Lieutenant Kim Vetter, Michigan State Police Public Information Officer. Thank you for joining us for this afternoon's news conference. Joining us today is Governor Gretchen Whitmer, Colonel James F. Grady II, Director of the Michigan State Police, James Deere, ATF Special Agent in Charge for Michigan, FBI Acting Special Agent in Charge Reuben Coleman, Sheriff Chris Swanson, Genesee County Sheriff, and Chief William Rennie, Grand Blanc Township Police Department.
Thank you. I'm here as governor to bring the full support of the entire state of Michigan to this community. I want to thank all of our local law enforcement, state police, federal agents for their swift response. I want to thank local fire and EMS and medical providers for saving lives and caring for those who are still fighting for their lives in the hospital. And thank the incredible Department of Natural Resources Conservation Officer and the local Grand Blanc officer for their brave actions to take down the shooter and their quick response. I think we can see the best of public service in all of these individuals. As I said, I'm here as the governor, but I'm also here as a fellow Michigander whose heart is breaking by another mass shooting in a place that is supposed to be defined by togetherness and a close-knit community here in Grand Blanc. As a state, we know the pain of this too well. We've seen gun violence in our schools, stores, parades, festivals, and our houses of worship. These are places that we go to feel connected, to feel safe, to be together. But today, this place has been shattered by bullets and broken glass. And this might be a familiar pain, but it hurts all the same. Every time. We cannot keep living our lives like this. I know that this community is reeling right now, and I want you to know that the state of Michigan has your back. Your grief is our grief. I ordered flags lowered statewide, and I spoke with President Trump yesterday, who wanted to share his condolences. We will be here every step of the way and coordinate a full response with our local and federal partners. Folks here at the township, at every level, have been working closely together. And there's one thing I know about Michiganders, is that we get through hard things together. And that's who we are. That's how the good people here at the Grand Blanc Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints live their lives. They worship together, they sing together, and they serve together. And that's why I was so proud to see powerful statements from interfaith leaders across Michigan denouncing this attack on a house of worship. They grieved for this congregation as though it was their own. They spoke with one voice for the basic principle that we all believe in, that you should be able to pray in peace in our state no matter who you are. I know that in the hours and days ahead, we will see the best of Michigan. We will see neighbors being neighborly, checking in with a call, bringing over some food, or offering a hug. We'll see medical providers work hard to save lives and treat those in need, with scars both seen and unseen. We will see this congregation unite and rally together like never before and continue worshiping together, singing together, and serving together. Because that's who Michiganders are. We will stay in close contact and continue to work together. Now, like everyone I know, we have lots of questions. How could this happen? What created this moment? Why? And that's motivated by a genuine motivation to understand, to learn, to prevent in the future. But I want to caution everyone. While we are working hard, while the good men and women who are working hard are doing so with due diligence, at this juncture, speculation is unhelpful and it can be downright dangerous. So, just ask that people lower the temperature of rhetoric. Keep your loved ones close and keep this community close to your hearts. Let's keep doing the work together. Let's be kind and let's love our neighbors. Thank you, and now I'd like to introduce the head of the Michigan State Police, Colonel James Grady.
Thank you, Governor, and good afternoon. Now, this community has been greatly impacted by yesterday's events. We are offering our deepest condolences to those affected by this tragedy. This horrific event is something that this community has never experienced. It is important at this time that we come together to support one another in this time of grief. We stand ready and willing to assist both our local and federal partners with any additional needs as this investigation continues.
Okay, so I really think we've seen enough that we really need to see. Just because of the heinous shooting, and I don't think we're going to get any more information from this video. So, yeah, so we'll go on from there and really analyze this, because this is just basically a sad town hall video. I think we're going to skip over to the PBD podcast, because I think they do a better rundown of the whole situation that's going on in the Mormon Church shooting. So let's switch over to that, and we'll take it over to Patrick Bet-David to kind of enlighten us a little bit on this topic. So let's go.
Rob, if you want to play the clip.
This is from inside the church as the shooting took place yesterday.
We're not going to see anybody getting shot.
No.
Are you sure, Rob?
This is what was going on in the church?
This is an older one.
This is an older. Rob,
I think this is an older video.
I think that's last week,
Okay.
which is still bad.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what I mean?
don't think that's the same video.
Then this is the police chief yesterday talking about the shooting, and then I also have him talking about the shooter. Which would
Go
you
for
prefer?
it. Go shooting first.
Okay.
The call came out here today at 10:20. Said was happening at 10:25 a.m. at the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, which is located at 4285 McCandless Road. During this incident, what we know right now is that a 40-year-old suspect from Burton, he's a male, he drove his vehicle through the front doors of the church. He then exited his vehicle, firing several rounds at individuals within the church. 10 gunshot victims have been transported to local hospitals at this time, including one who has been deceased. Officers who were trained immediately responded to the area. One was a DNR officer, and then one was a Grand Blanc Township officer, where they met the suspect and they engaged in gunfire with that particular individual. neutralizing that suspect, and that suspect is no longer with us. As I said, it is a 40-year-old male from Burton. During all this incident as well, there was a fire that occurred, and we believe that was deliberately set by the suspect. We do believe that we will find additional victims once we have that scene secure.
Okay, so a few things I'm seeing here about the guy. 40 years old, former Marine from 04 to 08, served in Iraq in his tenure. He lived there in Burton, Michigan, which is near Grand Blanc, drove the pickup truck. You're going through the whole thing that he just explained there. Casualties, we already talked about that.
Okay, so as far as we know from this whole situation that's going on, okay, what we do know right now is that Thomas Sanford was a Marine, served in Iraq and everything, lived in the town of Burton, and we knew that he hated Mormons because of a bad breakup with a previous relationship that he's had with somebody who was affiliated with the LDS Church. We know that he drove his truck through the church and set the church on fire. And I have to give props on one thing, was that based on the reports and everything that we've seen, the police showed up within seconds, within I think was less than a minute that they showed up from the moment they got the call, and they neutralized the suspect. I give props to them for that. But look, guys, police are heroes, okay? But they're not going to be able to stop every single heinous act that is out there. And we can't get away from the cold, hard facts that exist out there, is that there's a full-on hardcore movement to take out Christians. It doesn't matter whether you're a Jehovah's Witness, whether you're a Mormon, whether you're a Scientologist, whether you're an evangelical, you're a Protestant, you're a Catholic, you're an Arian Christian, you are a Nestorian Christian. It doesn't matter. They're after you. And this is a crime that we need to address right now. And the worst part about it is that the left is trying to position this as this Sanford guy being of the MAGA camp, okay? And you know, I'll be honest with you, I'm completely sick of them doing this, because every single time they never want to take the blame for anything that happens. As soon as they go into the profile of this Sanford guy, they are instantly looking at little clippets of little things that's around his house, seeing any clues out there and trying to pin it on the right. It's like, oh, he's instantly an alt-right. Oh, this is the violence that we're doing. But guys, let's be honest here. The violence that we've seen that's being perpetuated right now, all the religious crime, all the mass shootings and everything, it is all against Christians, whether you want to believe it or not. And the worst part is that no one really wants to cover it. I don't see MSNBC. I don't see CNN. I don't see anybody highlighting the fact that, hey, there is a concerted effort to take out Christians. We are the most persecuted religion on the planet. Hey, that's how we started. We're the most persecuted group. So if you think that this is going to stop us, you better think again. Now, I want to take us back to this topic regarding the suspect, okay? Because we really got to try to figure out exactly what he is, whether he's from the left or from the right, or really what his true motives were. So I'm going to take it back to the PBD podcast, because they did a really good rundown of the breakdowns of who the suspect was. And they've managed to find certain expos that reveals a little bit of truth about this guy. But when I went to research it and try to find it, I couldn't find a thing. So let's go ahead and see what facts PBD's got for us, and we'll go on from there.
What the internet's saying is him.
Okay, can we read some of these things? Politically active Democratic Socialist, progressive, and proud union member. So is that a post of his?
Well, that's his description on his X. Thomas J.
joined
Sanford.
July 2020. Is that the real name of the guy, though? Is it Thomas J. Sanford?
Yeah, are we sure this is the right,
Because
account?
Thomas Jacob Sanford is his name.
Okay, go back to the other one. I don't see the picture on his face, so I don't know if that's going to be him. So keep going to the next one. Grandma shootings Iraqi killed, has a Stop
Trump sign at his house.
Stop Trump sign at his house. Okay, Stop Trump sign at his house.
Yeah.
So not a pro-Trump sign at his house.
No,
Keep going. Okay. So there was a Trump-hating liberal. They tried to scrub his Facebook, but they weren't quite fast enough. So never support a president who IQ is 30 points lower than yours and failing. And he was talking about Trump. Okay. So then what is that other picture that people are posting? Okay. What is that one? The one right there with the Trump shirt on. Is that the same guy? Zoom in a little bit more on the shirt, Rob. See if you can.
Trump that posted
Yes,
the
says
picture
liberals
of him?
liberals cry again. 2000. See, that doesn't add up. So wait, in 2020 he joined and he's saying he's a progressive
Democratic. Yo.
Yeah,
Maybe
none
that's
of it
not
makes sense.
Maybe that's not a
And
shirt
I
honoring
love
Trump.
Pat, I love
Well,
how
hang
they-
on, go back to there's something in here. Look at his, if this is the right account, there is a pinned tweet, Pat.
Okay, now here's the thing we got to recognize, guys. Now they clearly struck a point in that video, in the PBD podcast. Okay, clearly this guy, as the evidence show, he is not a right-wing guy. He's definitely not conservative. As you can see the picture on his yard, there is a sign that basically has Trump and Vance, and right there is a stop sign. So he clearly is saying, stop Trump, Vance. He's not supporting the MAGA movement whatsoever. And he has clearly, as you saw in the previous, in the post that they're going through over on the PBD podcast, it's like he has been going down and essentially denigrating President Trump in his X and Facebook posts, as you can see that. And now we move on to this picture right here, okay? If anybody knows how Photoshop works, we can instantly take a look at this shirt that this dude is wearing right here. I don't know about you guys, man. That looks like it's Photoshopped on so many levels. I mean, the lighting and everything, nothing of this adds up. Now, if anybody in the comment section can prove me otherwise, please do and present these facts to me and show me how it's done, and then I'll be fully able to accept it, and I'll be able to come up with other conclusions maybe. But for right now, as what we've seen, this is another concerted job of the left trying to paint clearly a leftist lunatic who went into a church and killed innocent children and congregants at a Mormon church. And now they're trying to paint him as being MAGA. I'm sorry, guys, if you don't realize what the MAGA movement stands for, we are God-loving people. We are God-loving Christians. And if you want to see whether we have any proclivity towards violence, just take a look at the Charlie Kirk shooting and the aftermath. Did we go around and burn stuff down? No. Did we start riots? No. Did we stop police and started looting stuff? No, absolutely not. You know why? Because we are God-loving and God-fearing. We do not steal. We do not covet. We do not rape. We do not cause violence. The only time we stand for violence is to protect our neighbor and to protect God and our nation. So stop with this outright bullshit. All of you progressives out there and all you Antifa terrorists out there, because this is getting old and it's getting damn ridiculous. Okay? So, We already went through all the evidence. Well, the evidence that we know so far as what political leaning that he might be. And based on all the things that we've seen, it's leaning closer and closer and closer towards the left, no matter how they want to paint it. But there's still a lot that we don't know about this whole shooting. And I know that most likely we will uncover more as the times go by. Probably by the end of this week, we'll know extremely a lot more. So as for right now, this is going to be a story that will continue to be covered by me. And any more facts that I run into based on my research and what's out there, I will surely update you guys constantly throughout the various episodes that we have. Okay, now we're going to move into the second topic that we're going to talk about. And this is going to link as well with the topic of violence against Christians. And we got to bring it back to the Charlie Kirk shooting. It was a sad time, guys. It was definitely a sad time for us as a nation to have to witness those types of violence in our society. And it really concerns me how we are going to be able to recover and find our moral high ground again as a nation in the political process without resorting to any type of violence. But we're going to go back to the Charlie Kirk shooting because I'm not here to cover the actual shooting, and show you all the different interviews from all different people and how they felt emotionally. And we're not going to cover that. What I'm going to cover here is the discrepancies that exist in the Charlie Kirk shooting and the investigation. For one, there are so many red flags in how the investigation is being carried. For one thing that we need to notice is that there is video evidence coming out there right now that is being analyzed by ex-military, professional snipers, and everything. And they're all saying that the shot angle and the exit wound of how the shooting happened just doesn't add up. And look, I am a gun guy, okay? I shoot F-class, long-range F-class in competition shooting. And I also do a lot of 3-gun competitions. So from day one, when I saw how the shooting happened, because look, okay, you know what? I don't want to say anything just yet. I'm going to show you a video that breaks down about how the whole Charlie Kirk shooting happened and what we really need to analyze. And I'm going to let this guy from Range Day Bro cover the shot angles and everything. So let's watch it from here.
Ladies and gentlemen, I now have acquired proof that the FBI's official story is false, whether knowingly or unknowingly. We're going to have an entire monologue and talk about a lot of these things after I show you this, but if you take nothing else away from this video, you need to see this.
And in that video, you can see the same, what appears to be the bullet coming down, and it does line up with the actual gunshot itself. So you're not counting gang violence. Great.
So this video was created by a friend of mine who is a Marine. You'll see him here at the end. This is the angle he is showing the shot coming from, showing where Charlie was sitting, and the angle of the shot, which will correspond with this video here, which unfortunately we will blur out Charlie's face, but we will show what is necessary to prove that this was an entry and exit wound. So you'll see him circle the highlighted area right there, and you'll see the exit wound corresponding after, a split second after, as it would from an entry and exit wound. So in this footage, you can clearly see that Charlie is shot from his back right, and there's blood splatter coming out of the entry wound immediately after a shot. The first arc is kind of down, as if it's just gushing out from the entry wound. And then the second shot corresponds with when his head kind of snaps forward. That fluid then flips up in relation to that motion, so you can see there's that second splatter flipping up into the air. This is something that I hadn't seen to this date. I saw this for the first time late in the evening yesterday, and I decided that this needed to be put out immediately because no one that I know of is talking about this. So big shout out to my friend who actually found this and created this video. You'll see him here in just a moment. But let's just one more time look at this shot. You see bullet comes in that circled area. You have the blood splatter go down, then up, and then immediately after, you see the exit right here with the skin being pierced, and then the exit wound emerges. And again, that is not a far distance for a bullet to travel, whatever the caliber is, whether it be 5.56, 308, 30-06, it's not even a debate at this point. It doesn't matter what caliber killed him. What matters is that the official narrative is not true. Again, whether the FBI knows or not that they're lying, but this is 100% conclusive evidence that Charlie Kirk was shot in the back of the head, and it exited through the front of his throat. All of the evidence points to Charlie being shot from his back right. Now, including this little blood splatter that we can see here against the white backdrop, the extreme hemorrhaging from the front of his neck, which again corresponds with an exit wound, the extreme loss of blood. No matter what the caliber is, that distance, that amount of meat is not enough for most bullets to expand. I mean, 99.9% of bullets will not expand in that short distance. Most of them require 12 to 14 to 16 inches even sometimes of tissue to expand properly. Also, Charlie tensing up correlates and proves that he was hit in his spine. It's a spinal injury. Any of the game that I've shot in the neck or in the high vitals where you impact the spine, the game usually drops right in its tracks because you sever the spinal cord. This is again exactly what we see with Charlie. He tenses up. His head movement also correlates with being shot in the back of the head. His head.
Okay, that was pretty heavy and graphic. I'm sorry, guys. I should have warned you that this was going to be a graphic video. But it needs to be highlighted because as we can clearly see, the official narrative of Tyler Robinson shooting Charlie Kirk from 200 yards away from the front is clearly false. Because when I saw the shooting when I looked into the shooting for the first time, I knew there was something wrong instantly. Because the way Charlie Kirk fell forward, okay? If anybody knows guns, anybody knows physics, anybody knows just basic science in general, and it's like if you were shot from the front, what's going to happen? That pressure, especially from a 30-06 round fired from 200 yards away. Now, guys, 200 yards for a rifle is an easy shot. Anyone can make it. And if you're shooting somebody from a 30-06, I mean, if you shot him from the front, that's like getting hit with a baseball bat. You're gonna fall backwards instantly, and then like that's done. And no matter what you do, if you get shot by a 30 caliber round, whatever distance, if you get shot in the neck right there, I'm sorry, you're going down. There's no way you're surviving it. That's a major artery. And like this guy says, you could see how Charlie Kirk tenses up as he's getting shot. That clearly shows a spine injury, a spine being snapped, and he just locks up and falls forward. Now, why is this not being covered in mainstream media? Why is the possibility of a second shooter not even being considered right now? Because there is a lot of discrepancy on how this whole thing is going on. And look, I've seen damage, post-shot damage from actual tissue, okay? There's, from tissue being pork and hogs when I've gone hog shooting. I've shot a hog at 150 yards with a 30-06 before. And I can tell you that the exit wound of a 30-06 is not that big in the neck. Because you could see from Charlie Kirk, his exit wound was about, I would say that's probably about a size of a, I don't know, maybe a pistol round or a 45. If you got shot by a 30-06 from the front or from the behind, that exit wound is going to be that big, okay? There's going to be that big exit wound through Charlie Kirk's neck. So that right there tells me that this story has a lot of cover-ups and is fraught with a lot of BS that's being spewed right now. So we got to figure out, like, what the truth is. And guys, please don't be silent. Take this video, analyze it, take it to anybody you know, and really look at it and do your own research, guys, because I'm not trying to force you. I'm not trying to convince you in anything. The evidence is right there. Look at it. Analyze it for yourself and tell me, does it add up? And if it doesn't add up, you're probably right. And the worst thing about it is that when they're trying to pin this whole thing on Tyler Robinson, okay? We've seen the videos of him jumping off the roof. We've seen a picture, we've seen a video of him jumping off a roof, okay? And he's there limping and stuff. Let me see. Okay, so let me pull up the video where it shows him limping. Okay, so let's see. See, look at this. Look at this. Okay, so what they're saying, the narrative that's going around right now that they're saying is that Tyler Robinson somehow managed to disassemble the 30-06 rifle that he had. And let me pull up a picture of this 30. So that's the 30-06 rifle that he had, that he used, okay? Now, what they're saying is that he managed to disassemble the rifle, climbed to the roof of the targeted building where he was going to shoot from, reassembled the gun, okay? And if anybody knows how to reassemble a rifle, it's not a 5-minute process. And even if it's 5 minutes is a hell of a long time. That's an eternity. A lot of things can happen in 5 minutes. You can probably get shot and killed. So for him to be able to put the gun together without being seen in the most secured place on the planet, there were security officers, there were police or sheriffs, they were everywhere. And the fact that he's able to do this without getting caught is kind of ridiculous. That's all I'm saying. And what they said was he did reassemble the rifle, shot Charlie Kirk, and on his way out, he disassembled the rifle, put it in his backpack, jumped off the roof, and escaped. And then when he got to the neighborhood that he was at, he was limping. So they're saying that the way he was able to conceal the rifle and not get caught was he reassembled the rifle and puts it, I don't know really what it is, but it seems like what they're saying is that he reassembled the rifle and hid it through the leg of his pants. And that explains the limping. Okay, so let's watch it closer if this is true. Okay, let's look at this. His knees is bending. He clearly doesn't have a rifle in his pants in this picture. So why would they come to the conclusion that he's got a rifle there? Because I know I've had a rifle basically hung on by a strap to my side. It wasn't in my pants, but even then, just hanging off to the side, it's a major encumbrance. Your range of motion is limited, especially with a full-size rifle like that. So for him to be able to walk like this and limp, okay, and his knees are bending and you can't see any bulge of the rifle, I'm sorry. That theory where he hid the rifle in his pants and is able to walk off and nobody get caught, I'm sorry. I'm calling straight BS on that. There's no way. There's absolutely no way, guys. What's going on here? How the hell was he able to escape? And George Zinn or whatever his name was, the agitator, he was there, all of a sudden yelling, "Shoot me, shoot me, shoot me." And this is the same old guy that was at September 11th. He was at New York when September 11th happened. Okay? And then he was at the Boston Marathon the time he got bombed. And now he's here at a Charlie Kirk event when Charlie Kirk gets assassinated. I'm sorry, there's too many connections, too many correlations here. Like, this is no longer a conspiracy theory, guys. Like, this is, like, there's something fishy going on here. And what I'm telling you guys is that, please don't listen to the official narrative. The official narrative is straight up bullshit, and it's proven right here. Anybody who has any sort of common sense is able to look at this video and be able to come to their own conclusions themselves that, hey, there's no way that this guy could pull off this on his own. It's just impossible. And the worst part is, okay, his trans lover or whatever has disappeared completely. Nobody knows where he is. Nobody knows. Like, so what am I thinking? Well, maybe George Soros paid for him to disappear. So yeah, there's a lot of Soros going around in this little situation here. So yeah, you guys might want to reevaluate that, because there is a lot. There's a lot of connections between the Charlie Kirk shooting and how JFK was killed. In JFK, there was a conspiracy theory that, you know, multiple shooters shot JFK. And when we look at the magic bullet theory, there is no way that one round from Lee Harvey Oswald that is able to hit like 3 different people. Okay? That bullet must be a smart bullet that is way ahead of the game in their day. It must be like a self-guided bullet or some shit, because that's clearly impossible. And we don't have the benefit of the doubt in the JFK shooting, because back then there was, the only cameras that we have out there were the cameras that were present from the news networks that taped the entire assassination. But here, in our situation, Charlie Kirk, we have 3,500 cameras out there from all of our phones. We have the benefit, guys, these days, to where we're able to call the bullshit, okay? And that's what we got to start doing, because if we don't keep the discrepancy in the Charlie Kirk shooting highlighted in the media and in our current environment right now, this is going to get lost completely. And I'm not being this is not hyperbole, okay? This is truth. Because right now, if you guys haven't looked at it, the crime scene where Charlie Kirk was shot, right now they are doing full construction. So the place where his tent was set at, they have ripped out the entire area. They have ripped out all the concrete, and they're pouring new concrete. What the fuck is going on here? Like, I'm sorry to use profanity here, guys, and I'm trying really hard to not use it, but if you can't see discrepancies in the investigation, they're getting rid of evidence. How do you know if there wasn't another bullet that was there? How do you know that there wasn't any clues that they've completely wiped out off the map? This sounds, there's way too much going on. There's way too many things that's being hidden, and we got to uncover it. Guys, please, as a community, we have to look into this. We have to get to the bottom and know exactly what is going on. Because if we don't, it's going to get swept under the rug, and a great man would have lost his life in vain. But on a lighter note, I'm going to go ahead and bring us something a little bit more funny so that we can kind of mock and laugh about it a little bit, okay? So here's a little treat for you.
I did this for you, and send. Alright. It's a good thing that I, Tyler Robinson, Someone who has a 4.0 GPA and a 34 on the ACT is smart enough to know that there is no way that the FBI could ever get a hold of my text messages. Whew.
So this is pretty funny, guys. So there's like, okay. So this clearly states the whole thing. It's like, who the hell would text their trans girlfriend, boyfriend, or whatever the hell it is, right after a shooting and not expect to get caught? And tell them how he disassembled the rifle, how he reassembled the rifle, and how he disassembled the rifle, and how he managed to sneak out of the place and everything. And gave like a breakdown of everything. I'm sorry, the facts are too clean. Like the information being provided to us. Like, here's the thing, guys. In business, we were taught that, you know, you always hope for the best, but you always expect the worst. And you always need to keep an ear out in anything that happens and always be on the lookout for any discrepancies in anything. And especially in business, when a deal looks too good to be true and the documents of the financials or anything, if they look too good to be true, they are probably too good to be true. And what I'm trying to say is that this whole thing with Tyler Robinson and how the FBI managed to get information about how he went about doing the shooting and everything, texting his girlfriend or boyfriend, whatever, trans, whatever it is, that he disassembled the rifle, climbed on the roof, reassembled the rifle, shot Charlie Kirk, jumped off the roof, disassembled the rifle, and then somehow miraculously reassembled the rifle, shoved it down his pants, and walked up the neighborhood without a single bulge coming out of his pants, without the butt of his gun sticking out or anything like that. I'm sorry. I call bullshit, man. And we're not going to listen to you anymore. So, Kash Patel, you have an opportunity here to really, really rebuild the credibility of the FBI. You can do that right here with the Charlie Kirk case. Or you're just going to be like everybody else. You're going to bury it under the rug and tell us there's nothing there. Is that what you're going to do? Please, Kash Patel. Our president, Donald Trump, put you in that position. Do your job, please. Thank you. All right, so, yeah, I got a little too angry there and a little bit too emotional. But let's move on to the very next story that we've got for us. And right now, we're going to move on to a statistics base. Okay. And this is essentially going to highlight the situation that we are in as Christians. Because when we review the statistics of violence against church institutions, Christian institutions, okay, the statistics are very, very alarming. And this also includes the killing of Charlie Kirk. Because in the last year, guys, I'm not even joking, okay? In the last year, there has been 415 cases of violence being perpetuated against Christians. This is just in 2014, guys. In 2023, you know what? I'm just going to bring you the article up. I'm just going to bring up the article from you that is being provided by the Centers for Religious Liberty. Okay, and I'm not lying. Here it is. Okay, so in 2024, last year alone, okay, incidents per year, there has been 415 incidents of violence against Christians last year. And the year before, there has been 485 cases of violence against Christians. And then in 2022, there's 198. 2021, 98. So if we just calculate these 4 years, okay, that's over 1,000 cases of violence being perpetuated against Christians. Okay. How come no media is covering this? This is literally a hate crime being perpetuated against a religious group. I thought the Democrats and the progressives were the party that hates hate crime. And they were fighting hate crime. This is what this whole movement for, civil rights, basically the whole Racism Act, the whole affirmative actions are to get people of color to have better opportunities in the future, and all of this stuff. Okay? And they keep calling the right fascists, Hitler, Nazis, because we perpetuate hate crime based on our speech. So where are you guys? The facts are glaring right here. Where are you, MSNBC? Where are you, CNN? Where are you, ABC? Rachel Maddow, since you love to list, hate crime, here it is. Cat got your tongue? What's going on here? And of course, you guys are never going to address it because it's Christians. And you guys aren't Christians. You guys are the most godless people on the planet. But you are okay with protecting another religious group. Because in truth, guys, if this had been a Hindu temple, if this had been a Muslim mosque, a Buddhist temple, or anything like that, we would be losing our shit. There would be news articles left and right saying, oh, America's a racist country. We're hating on people of color. This is racist. We're bringing back the KKK and this and that. But what about Christians? What about us? This country was founded in Judeo-Christian values. The fact that you're able to speak freely is because of the Christian doctrine. The reason you have freedom of liberty is because of Christian doctrine. And the reason that you have the lifestyle and the culture that you live and that you enjoy so much, that you also hate, but you hate the country so much that America is such a great country that even the people that hate us refuse to leave because of our Judeo-Christian values of civil liberties. What's going on? But I think we need to listen further because we need to also recognize if these facts aren't enough to tell you that there is violence being perpetuated against Christians. Because I can look at this number now and I can understand what the left is going to try to spin this at. So the left is going to look at these numbers. They're like, oh, these are just minor cases. These stories don't add up. They don't really have full context because that number that you see there is probably just verbal violence, verbal speech being perpetuated against it. No. This is real violence. If you want me to prove it to you, okay, let's go to the list of mass shootings that have occurred in the last 4 years at a Christian institution. Okay, and I'm pulling this information from the Wikipedia page, and I know Wikipedia is probably the least credible site that you can go to for this, but they actually did a pretty good job of listing all the mass shootings. So let's go to it. Okay. Let's start out with, let's go ahead and start with in 2022. Now, let's do it. Let's go ahead and start with 2019, okay? The last year of the Trump administration. December 29, 2019, White Settlement, Texas. 3 dead, 0 injured, okay? Motive, unknown. West Freeway Church of Christ, Christian, okay? And I said Judeo-Christian, which also includes Jewish institutions. So, January 15th, 2022, Colleyville, Texas. Dead, 1, the perpetrator, 4 hostages. Okay? And they shot up a Jewish synagogue. Okay? February 28th, 2022, Sacramento, California. 5 dead, 1 injured. Over a domestic dispute. Okay? David Fidel Mora Rojas shot and killed his 3 children, a chaperone, and himself during a supervised visit at a church in Sacramento. Non-denominational. Christian. May 15, 2022, Laguna Woods, California. 1 dead, 5 injured. Anti-Taiwanese sentiment. This is being perpetuated in the Christian church. Okay? So that is what? 4 shootings so far. Okay? June 16, 2022. West Davia Hills, Alabama. 3 dead, 1 injured. Unknown motive. Episcopal. Christian. That is what? That's 5 now. Okay? Nashville, Tennessee. 7 dead, 1 injured. Infamy, anti-Christian settlement was the motive. Okay? Presbyterian Church in America. Okay, let's see how many that is. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 6 now. Okay? February 11th, 2024. Houston, Texas. 1 dead, 2 injured. Word of Faith. That's another Christian shooting. December 16, 2024, Madison, Wisconsin. Protestant, 3 dead, 6 injured. Lexington, Kentucky, 3 dead, 2 injured. Baptist. August 27, 2025, Minneapolis, Minnesota. 3 dead, 18 injured. At a Catholic church. And then, of course, September 28, 2025, Grand Blancs, Michigan. 5 dead, 8 injured. So the number's gone up. It's 5 dead now. 8 injured. Church of Latter-day Saints. What is going on here, guys? There's clearly a trend of mass shooting being perpetuated against Christians. How come no one is talking about it? How come this is not a statistics that's being posted up on CNN, on any of the mainstream media out there, even MSNBC? They don't want to address this. But they want to address Hamas. They want to address illegal immigration, that we should open our borders and everything. They want to address all these things that is totally un-American. But they won't protect the institutions that was the basis for our nation. These guys are evil. The left is evil, guys. And by I say a left, I know there's good blue dog Democrats out there who stand a middle ground. But the problem with everything, guys, is you guys aren't loud enough. You guys are letting these lunatic progressives control the narrative, control your movement, and hijacking the whole thing to be something completely different from what you stand for. And you're just watching it happen. If that's not evil perpetuating itself by doing absolutely nothing, I don't know what is. Because by doing absolutely nothing, you might as well just take a gun and shoot the next Christian. Because your silence is what's killing us. It's exactly what's killing us. Okay. Now, I just can't comprehend the fact that America, our society in America, is normalizing violence against Christians. And we are just completely ignoring it. And this is something that I can't grasp my head around. I thought we were supposed to love our neighbor. But instead, we've turned against ourselves. And we're like a parasite eating ourselves. And this cannot continue. Okay. Let's move now on to the world of international politics. And we're going to get into something that's less violent, but still significant. So, the next story we're going to get into is the UN walkout on Netanyahu's speech. Now, I understand we're not going to agree on a lot of things, especially on the world stage, especially at the UN. I mean, look at those characters. That is literally a cult of personality, guys, at the UN General Assembly, okay? But I also understand that as world leaders, we all need to show each other equal respect as representatives of a state, a nation state that is recognized. And please note when I say recognized, okay? Because Netanyahu, during his speech, everybody walked out on him. And look, the guy actually made a really good speech. But the fact that they all walk, I'm not going to get into exactly what he said. You could go ahead and watch the entire speech for yourself. But I can tell you, he makes a lot of good points. You know, about Gaza, about the war progress and everything like that. Hey, you can hate me all you want. I'm not a Zionist, okay? I have criticized Netanyahu for a lot of things that he's done. But when it comes to how he's conducting the war, if you understand the rules of war, you wouldn't be saying anything. Because if you understand how the rules of war work, Hamas is clearly breaking every single rule of warfare. And we're going to get into it. So here's the speech of Netanyahu. And I'm going to fast forward to the part where everybody started walking out.
The assembly will...
Okay, so watch this now.
Please order...
You see how all of these despicables are walking out. They can't even show respect for a world leader. It's bonkers. It's freaking bonkers that we're going down this road. And they're all clapping. Look at him. Look at him. Look at him. Clapping for what? What? There's so much disrespect here. I'm just, it's galling. It's stupid. Okay, because as fellow leaders of world governments, you need to be showing certain levels of respect.
Please order in the hall and please be seated.
And I respect Netanyahu for holding his composure. Look at his face. He knows the world is against him. But I respect his content of character and his conviction. He knows what he's doing. What he is doing is to protect the Israel nation. Can't fault him for that. Okay. But let's get into it. Now, a lot of these leaders are basically saying that Netanyahu is committing all sorts of war crimes and everything. But that's absolutely not true, because they're saying that he's bombing innocent people. He is blowing up buildings with innocent people in them. And the best way for me to break it down, it's like I could go through all this. I can go through the whole thing with you. It's probably going to take like 4 hours, but I'd rather have Officer Tatum kind of do the job for me. So I'm going to play this clip for you, and we'll go on from there.
destruction of a captive, stateless people in Gaza right now that you will never be able to claim to be pro-life again without being rightfully viewed as the biggest hypocrite in the universe. I think it's kind of undeniable. There's a real conflict between being pro-life and then also supporting a policy, the price tag of which is tens of thousands of slaughtered babies, children.
There's a very big difference between articulating whether a person believes that life starts at conception, not perception, versus a person disagreeing with urban warfare and the way that Israel is carrying out their attacks in Gaza. There's two different things. They should not be conflated. I think a lot of people that I know in Israel, including myself and others that are staunch Zionists, think that he is prolonging the war too long and is causing too much damage and irreversible reputational damage. He should have ended it sooner, and he should have went harder. In America, if we had faced such brutality, rape, people getting their heads cut off, I saw videos of people getting their heads cut off, we would have been swift. Within 48 hours, we would have caused the most damage that you've ever seen to a country in world history. And Netanyahu, for whatever reason, is capitulating, and that he don't want to look bad. He don't want to be shamed. He don't want people to say that he's committing a genocide. So he's playing in the middle for too long. 2 years of this war is too much. He should have eliminated Hamas immediately. And he should not worry about the naysayers. He's darned if he do, he's darned if he don't. He is not committing a genocide in Gaza. I think that's disingenuous at best, because no one committing a genocide would be giving food or aid to a people that they're trying to kill. They would not be sending leaflets and advising people of buildings that they're going to tear down. The population has grown in Gaza from 1948 all the way up until today. 500,000 they started with. They're at 2 million at this point. When did the genocide start? There is no genocide. People can argue the tactics that Netanyahu is displaying in Gaza, but you cannot be superfluous and add these arguments that seems to, in my opinion, be anti-Semitic in many ways. It's not, these people are terrorists, and not the Gazan people, the regular everyday individual, the terrorist group that came into a country and attempted to commit a genocide against Israel. They would have committed a genocide against Israel to a large proportion if it wasn't for the IDF and if it wasn't for the Iron Dome. Let's not forget, they shot 4,000 missiles into Israel. They tried to kill everybody. The IDF is going in strategically. I wish that people had not died. I wish that they could end the war so there's no suffering. I wish that Hamas wasn't stealing food. The UN confirmed that 96% of all the aid is being looted. I wish that Hamas wasn't doing those things. I wish that Hamas would take the approach of Israel, which means when the rockets go flying into Israel, the people go into bomb shelters. When rockets go flying into Gaza, the terrorists go into bomb shelters, and they make their people stay above ground to be the blunt force of what they receive in a war that they started for no reason. Hamas knew they could never beat the IDF in Israel. Why did they start the war? Why did they initiate conflict? Why did they rape people and do things like that and videotape it?
Tatum kind of basically summed up everything that I'm going to say. It's just that you can't just come to judgments about Israel bombing buildings, okay, all the time. You can't come to the conclusion that Israel is murdering innocent civilians, okay? Because you got to understand the rules of war. If you have a military target that is hiding themselves in a building with civilians, if that threat who's hiding themselves among civilians is being analyzed and the conclusion came from the IDF that this particular group of people, even though they are mingled amongst the civilian populace, if they're in the building, if that group poses a significant threat to wider security, there is every right for a military institution to take action, even though the collateral damage is going to be some civilians. It's a slippery slope, but I can understand why Netanyahu's doing it. Because if we don't defeat Hamas where they are located, if we don't defeat them at their own game, if we don't go in there and do what's need to be done to root out all their hiding places and everything, this war is never going to end. And we're going to constantly have this full circle, constantly coming back over and over and over and over again, saying that Israel is the devil, is this and that. Oh, America is evil for supporting Israel. It's like, you know what? Y'all really don't know. If y'all don't know military strategy, military tactics, history of Palestine, history of the Jewish state, the number of times that Palestine has been offered by Israel to have its own state 4 different times. Both times they flat out turned it down. It's not anyone's fault that you chose to live in such a shitty predicament like that. And Palestine, your people, you are at fault as well. You are at fault for allowing Hamas to brainwash you and take over your entire community. That's on you. That isn't on us. And if you want to if everybody, especially these people that are protesting on the street, free Palestine, free Hamas, blah, 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 blah. And they're saying, free Palestine. Palestine needs to have their state back. Okay, that little spiel right there about the Palestine needing to have its own state. Okay, in case you're really stupid, let me break down history for you. Palestine was never a damn state. Never. There was no such thing as Palestine as far as 2,000 years ago, and there never was. Palestine was a name given by the Romans who occupied the region. The region before that was known as either Judea or Israel. There were 2 states that were formed during the time of, I think, David? Yeah. There was Judea and Israel. Don't take my word on that. I'm not very good in my, my liturgical history. So don't take my word for it. But I do know that in the Bible, there was the state of Judea, the state of Israel. There was never no mention of the state of Palestine. The closest thing we had to Palestine was the Philistines. That's it. Palestine was mentioned once in the Bible. Israel was mentioned 43 times in the Bible and in the Quran. So what's going on here? And if you really want to take a look at the whole history of Palestine, okay, Palestine, Roman occupation. Before the Romans, the Greeks, the Ptolemaic Egypt, which is Crete, essentially. And before that, it was Alexander the Great, which was Macedon. And then before that, I believe I think there was the Hasmonean dynasty, which was Jewish. And then there's Egypt and all those. And then post-Roman, you had the Byzantines, which essentially were Romans, but Palestine never had a state. And then you had the Muslims of the Rashidun Caliphate who took over. Okay, and it was not a Palestinian state. It was part of the Rashidun Caliphate. And on top of that, after that, there was the Crusades, the First Crusade, that came in and took over the entire region that we call Palestine or Judea. Okay? And then after that, Saladin came in with his Muslim army and took over Jerusalem and the entire region. There was no Palestinian state. They were just part of the Seljuks. I think it was the Seljuks. I believe it was the Seljuks that Saladin was a part of. I'm not sure, but don't take my word for it. And then after that, we've got, I believe, the Fatimids. And then after that, I think we got the Abbasids. Okay. And then after that, we have the Ottomans. Then after that, we've got the British protectorate, the British occupation, the British mandate. And now, post-World War II, there still is not a Palestinian state. So where are you guys getting the idea that a Palestinian state ever existed? It hasn't. Know your damn history. Because you guys are talking nonsense. Don't come and claim that Palestine was a state. It wasn't. It never was. Okay? Israel was the only nation willing to give you your own state on 4 different occasions. And all 4 occasions, you turned it down. Well, I understand that Israel has perpetuated violence against Palestinians. I get it. Okay? That was a dark time. But does that justify everything that's happening now? Does that justify this whole free Hamas movement to take over all of the West and burn our cities down, kill Christians, beat up anybody who doesn't agree with your line of thinking, or anybody that talks bad about Islam, or anybody that doesn't want to be a part of your jihad? No one gives a damn about your jihad. Okay? Because right now, your jihad is nothing but a paper tiger threat. So get your shit together. If you think you want to go out there, especially these guys going around, the funniest thing is when you see these rainbow-colored people who are wearing, they're obviously part of the LGBT community, LGBT plus exclamation mark, whatever you are, and they're going around saying, hey, rainbows for Hamas. You know what the hell they're going to do when you go and wear your rainbows in freaking Palestine? They're not going to recognize you as they, them. You're going to be a was-were. Okay? Because you don't exist in their eyes. You're just another walking flesh that they can pump a bunch of holes into you and cut your head off and say that they are fighting the West. It's great. Go be a martyr. Go be a martyr for your LGBT movement. Go be a martyr for your feminist movement. I want to see what they're going to do. Go. Please. Let's move on to the next topic. So, well, guys, I'm sorry to say, but none of the topics that we're going to cover here is going to be lighthearted at all, because the next topic that we're going to cover is the global Christian persecution. The unreported genocide that nobody's ever talked about. No one has talked about this ever. And I have to say, mainstream media, essentially, their heads explode. Their head explode in the last couple of days because someone came out and finally said it, finally recognized it, and this was a person in their camp, and it was Bill Maher. Bill Maher, I don't like you a lot, okay? There's a lot of things I don't agree with you, and there's a lot of things that I think you're ill-informed on. But on this point, I can't agree with you. Let's watch what he's got to say.
Churches. This is so much more. These are the Islamists, Boko Haram. This is so much more of a genocide attempt than what is going on in Gaza. They are literally attempting to wipe out the Christian population of an entire country. Where are the kids protesting this?
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Because no one will talk about it, so thank you.
Absolutely.
It's Africa. That's why no one's talking about it, and they should be. You can't read about it in mainstream media. It's sad, so thank you for bringing it up.
Well, because the Jews aren't involved. That's why. It's the Christians and the Muslims. Who cares? If you don't know what's going on in Nigeria.
So there it is right there. What is Bill Maher talking about? Okay, so right now there is a concerted movement in the nation of Nigeria of Christian genocide. Hundreds of thousands of people are being killed in Nigeria for practicing their faith. That's all. If you don't believe me, let's look at the facts. Okay. Okay, let's see. Persecution against Christians. let's see. There is an Alyssa, 5, da-da-da-da-da. Okay. So, 4,476 Christians were killed for faith-related reasons in 2024. 70% of those killed were in Nigeria, where attacks on Christians have become more common since 2020 as a part of a wider rise in political violence against civilians. Okay? This is just one from House of Commons Library in the UK. Now we know they're very partisan, so they're going to hide a lot of facts. So let's move on to the next story. Okay. So here, Christians genocide feared in Nigeria, murdered priests, latest in long list of offenses against the church. Okay. Let's see. I feel bad for this guy, but we have to cover the stories. Okay, so here we got. Okay. It is said at least 185,000 people, including 125,000 Christians and 60,000 moderate Muslims, have been killed in Nigeria since 2009, when terrorist group Boko Haram began its murderous campaign intended to set up the caliphate across the Sahel. Why is this being silent right now? Oh, I know why. I can tell you why. The Jews aren't involved. Just like Bill Maher says, Jews aren't involved. It's no fun. It's not a good story. Just like in American politics. We're not going to talk about anybody. We're not going to talk about it except Trump. You know why? Because it's just not fun. He's easy to hate. You guys are spewing the same bullshit constantly. And we're getting sick of it. Why is there no consistent reporting? Why have we not heard anything about Christians being persecuted? Instead, what we hear is, oh, Israel is bombing our country. Israel's bombing Hamas. There's dead children. There's this, that. There's illegal. We're locking up illegal immigrants and stealing from their children. Guess what? They're breaking the damn law. You came to this country illegally. You broke the damn law. No one feels sorry for you. You knew what you got yourself into. You gain no sympathy from me. You want to go down that road, the illegal route, and come to this country? Great. That's your prerogative. That's your choice. We're not going to help you. We're not going to give you a credit card to buy your essentials. We're not going to give you a place to live. We're not going to give you citizenship. Well, maybe Biden did, but we're not going to do it. And why is the largest persecuted faith in the world, Christians, being ignored? What's going on here? What does this really reveal about the global control narrative? Why is Hamas more important than Christians? We are the foundations of Western society, the modern world, as we know it, that recognizes human rights, that recognizes freedom of speech, that recognizes personal freedom. That's all Christian. The fact that you're able to talk so much smack about Christians is because of your Judeo-Christian values that we have as a foundation of our society. I don't know what you guys plan to achieve by promoting this Islamist. Because at the end of the day, if they win, you don't exist. I hope you know that. This is serious. I'm sorry if this podcast has been slightly anger-filled, but these are topics that's highly passionate to me because my family are Persian. I am of Persian and Thai descent. My dad had to escape Iran during the revolution. He fought in the Iran-Iraq war, was shot multiple times, was even gassed by Saddam Hussein's troops. So yes, I have a personal connection. So yes, I don't have any sympathies for any Islamist revolutionaries. I don't feel sorry for you. And whatever happens, you guys had it coming. You perpetuate this violence. We wanted to live in peace, and you chose the path of most resistance. And whatever is coming, you guys will have to reap what you sow. So, we're going to go ahead and finally move on to our last story, which is the Great Replacement. So what is that? The Great Replacement is essentially the movement of the Democratic Party that essentially they've kept it under wraps. They really don't want to talk about it. But the Great Replacement is that essentially the Democrats have this idea. They want to replace the entire voting base, uproot the American cultural system that made us as a society, which means citizens, legal citizens voting. They want to completely replace it with a brand new group of people, mostly illegal immigrants and people from other countries, and giving them a free path to come into our country so that way the Democrats can control that voting base, get them to vote Democrat, blue, for as long as time will allow, and essentially control the entire system. They have all said, on the left, they have all said that, this is a right-wing myth. Guys, it's not a right-wing myth anymore. And then we have proof and the evidence to show it. So let's get into it.
Shock you. Ever since the election, Democrats have been trying to scare people into believing that Donald Trump and Elon Musk were coming for your Social Security, that they were coming for your Medicare, your Medicaid. They aren't. None of it was ever true, and now we have the proof. According to the Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, Elon Musk's team has just discovered that immigration officials under Joe Biden were doing something that's never been done before. They were giving illegal aliens work authorization papers just 5 months after they filed for asylum. The Biden Immigration Department would then mail each illegal alien a Social Security number, no questions asked, no interview, no background check, and presto, you've got yourself a brand new Democratic voter. That's how they were doing it. No administration has ever done anything like it before, but clearly Democrats had a plan all along. A plan that the media deliberately never talked about. A plan that was considered the third rail, off limits to even mention in polite company. They were importing voters. We have an answer to that question now. And while they were doing that, they were telling you this.
Well, there certainly is not an open border.
The border is secure, but we also have a broken immigration system.
The border is closed. The border is secure.
I just made that really clear. It would be wrong to think that the border is open. It is not open.
They were importing Democratic voters, lying to the American public, and now we have the proof. According to the Social Security Administration, the crime started immediately after Joe Biden took office in 2021. 270,000 illegals were given Social Security numbers. That's about the population of Hartford, Connecticut. That number would grow a year later to 590,000 illegals getting Social Security numbers, about the size of Cincinnati, Ohio. A year later, 2023, 964,000 illegals got Social Security numbers about the size of San Francisco. And in Joe Biden's final year in office, on his way out the door, that number skyrocketed to just over 2 million illegal aliens getting Social Security numbers, roughly the size of our third biggest city, Chicago. In all, more than 3 million illegal aliens that crossed the border when Joe Biden was president now have Social Security numbers today that we know about, and it gets worse. According to DOGE, 1.3 million illegal aliens are currently on Medicaid, and at least 500,000 now have a driver's license, and they are killing Americans behind the wheel. Over the last 4 years on U.S. roads, dozens of deaths that didn't need to happen.
All right, guys. So those are the numbers. Those are the facts. We've been saying this for years, like 8 years, that this has been going on. Everybody labeled the conservatives as being fear-mongers, being minority-hating. We hate brown people. We're racist. I've been called a racist. Look at my freaking face. I've been called a racist. I don't even know how that's possible. My parents are immigrants. We came to this country. We built a life for ourselves, and we came in legally. We've worked our asses off to get our Social Security numbers. We went through the legal system. And now here's the evidence, the Great Replacement. 2024, 2 million illegal immigrants came to our country and got Social Security numbers. That's only the ones that we've accounted for. What's going on here, guys? And this is not a fringe theory. Okay? This is facts that mainstream media refuses to recognize, because if they recognize it, they have to address it, and they're going to lose their voting base. You have to understand, progressives, I don't want to label as Democrats, okay? Hard, far left-wing progressives want to push this agenda because they know they are losing their power amongst the American people, whether you're right or left. If you are an American citizen and your family have been here 3 to 4 generations, I guarantee you in the next time around, you are not going to vote. If you have any sensibility and you have any common sense, able to come up with your own investigation and conclusion to the facts, you are not going to be voting blue. And they know that. This is why they're trying so hard to import illegal immigrants through our southern border, through our northern border from Canada, or anywhere inside. Anywhere they can get those extra voters, they're going to do it. That's why sanctuary cities exist. Sanctuary cities are not there to promote the well-being of illegal immigrants. They're not there for that. They're there as the farming tool for the Democratic Party, to farm votes. Because they know common sense Americans, nation-loving Americans, Christian-loving Americans are not going to continue voting down that road. And they know that. They're losing their grip, guys. We are doing our job. And we can't let this cultural transformation perpetuate any longer. I'm not saying this as an alt-right guy, okay, trying to say, we need to take over our country, we need to take this back and force us. No, I'm not saying that. But what we need to recognize is that this cultural transformation is uprooting our entire American identity. We're bringing people into our country that have no connection to our country. They don't even know how many states is in our country. They don't know who's even the first president. They don't even know our history. They don't even know the wars that we fought in. There's all the things we've done all throughout the world. Our world history. They don't know any of that. Why do we have any prerogative to bring people that clearly hate us? It makes no sense. And the religious displacement, particularly Christianity, you're going to replace it with godless people, or not even godless people. You want to bring in more Muslim refugees. And these Muslim refugees are the same refugees that have been kicked out from their country. So these are people that Saudi Arabia don't even want. These are people that Dubai don't even want. These are people that Egypt don't even want. They're all the radicals that we're taking in here. There's a reason why they are not in their country. And look, guys, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Bahrain. I mean, I don't know about Bahrain, but I know Saudi Arabia, Egypt, the Emirates, all those are well-developed countries. And they don't even want the radicals there. They pushed all those radicals out. That's why their country is safe. And ours is a pool of damn anarchy. I'm telling you guys, this is serious. This is serious. And, you know, the left and everybody else have been laughing at us, who have been trying to let this fact out known to the world, have been laughing at us for such a long time. And now they can't. Because of all the things that's happened, all the things that this administration has uncovered, they're now having to admit in plain sight that they have screwed up. And guys, I'll be honest with you, I'll take you a bet. I'll bet you $100, even 1,000. No one on the left is going to come out. None of the left politicians are going to come out and admit it. Instead, they're going to turn this as a far right-wing conspiracy statistic. And this is why we have to keep fighting. This is what we are fighting for. We have to save our nation from this invasion of a cultural transformation, because that is the only way we are going to protect our way of life, our Christian faith, and our families. So that's it for today's show, guys. I know it lasted a good amount, and it's a lot to cover, and this has definitely gotten the most emotional response from me because it's something that I am very passionate about. And look, I love America. America is the only country that gave my family an opportunity to build our lives and for me to be what I am now. But the only thing I will say, guys, is that I will ask you as a call to action, stay awake, stay aware, guys. Share the truth. And don't let any narrative replace the reality that we are seeing now. Because this reality right here, the world has to know. Because if we don't do this now, our children are going to pay the price for our negligence. Thank you so much for watching the Ashery Unbound podcast, guys. So this will be the episode. This will be the only episode that we're currently going to be doing this week. And I know I told you guys I'm going to be doing a post on Tuesdays and Thursdays, twice a week. But this week, I'm currently in the process of moving to another house, and we're in the process of getting the studio set up and everything. So instead of having this background that you see here, because I'm essentially doing that in my apartment, so we're going to have a better studio. We're going to have a house. We're going to have a room dedicated for it. So the background's going to be better decorated, and I guarantee you guys are going to be so impressed. But until that note, guys, I'm always going to be on the lookout for more juicy topics. And if you guys are in the comments section, if you guys run into stories out there and facts that are pertinent that you think I should cover, please let me know in the comments section. Or just go to our X page and let us know. Thank you so much, guys, for watching, and I hope you take some good things out of this, and I hope it opens your eyes, because that's what it means to be truly unbound. Thank you, guys. Have a good night, and see you on the next one.